You're watching Capitol Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
The Democratic Governors Association launched a campaign this week questioning the tough-on-crime credentials of Aurora Mayor Richard Irvin, who's running for governor as a Republican, highlighting his prosecutor experience. Republicans were quick to hit back, questioning why Democrats, using some of Governor Pritzker's campaign money, would be getting involved in the Republican primary contest.
Richard Irvin's real record on crime? For 15 years, Irvin has been a defense lawyer, profiting by defending some of the most violent and heinous criminals. Irvin's been getting rich by putting violent criminals back on our streets.
Joining us now is our Reporters Roundtable, Dave Dahl from WTAX News Radio and Brendan Moore from the Herald and Review. Good to have you both with us. Brendan, what do you think is the strategy here? Why are Democrats so interested in dragging the momentum of Richard Irvin right now?
Well, Mark, it's pretty clear that they think that Richard Irvin is the strongest potential challenger to Governor Pritzker in November. As a Democratic political operative told me probably about a month ago, it would be political malpractice for Governor Pritzker, who is not facing a tough primary challenge himself. His campaign not to funnel dark money or for the DGA, the Democratic Governors Association, to do some sort of advertising campaign to try and influence the Republican primary. It's pretty clear they think that Mayor Irvin is somebody that could appeal to moderate suburban voters that the party would need to win in November, and I think their intentions here are pretty clear.
The ad does two things. It calls Richard Irvin a hypocrite for talking about his tough-on-crime stance when he defended criminals, and it also tries to suggest that he's not giving the full picture. It's playing a general election race in the primary, Dave, and yet in 2018, when the Democratic Governors Association got involved, what they did was they used their ad space. They bought up ads to say Jeannie Ives, the far-right conservative, is too conservative for Illinois. They were actually dressing her up as someone who was farther to the right, trying to galvanize support around her, hoping to tank the incumbent Bruce Rauner at the time. So which is it? If the DGA gets involved to meddle, are they actually helping Richard Irvin by attacking him or hurting him by questioning his credentials?
Well, I think it's a fair hit, and I think it is a hit, and I think it's a fair one for the Democratic Governors Association. I think that they're doing a reasonable thing by trying to go after one of the perceived frontrunners, the perceived frontrunner on the Republican side, and by complaining about it, I think the Illinois Republicans, in this case, House Minority Leader Jim Durkin and Senator Sue Rezin, who also holds a leadership position in the Senate Republicans, I think that does protest too much. All they're doing is calling more attention to that ad that they say is so bad.
What the Irvin campaign was bracing for was this idea that the Democratic Governors Association was going to do the old 2018 thing again, but this time just attack Darren Bailey for being too conservative and lift his profile. Instead, they attacked Richard Irvin and said he's soft on crime. They bought ad space on Fox News to send that message out. So they're attacking him for being soft on crime. How do you see that strategy?
Well, first, to back up a little bit about Jeannie Ives, the ads talking about Jeannie Ives had superb lighting and color. She presented nicely. You know, if you turn down the sound, it looked like it was an ad for Jeannie Ives. And then Rauner is, you know, a dark and out of focus, that classic move. And with regard to whether Mayor Irvin's a hypocrite or whether he really is tough on crime, well, he really was a defense attorney, and he really did target his services to people accused of bad stuff. And is that wrong? No. Is it, you know, a constitutional right to have a defense attorney? Yes, but Mayor Irvin is the one snarling into TV cameras saying he's tough on crime. I mean, I think all three of us were at the event where he showed up in Springfield. He wouldn't stop being mad.
Right, and one of the interesting things about this is we're having a discussion about ads, which is how it's kind of like our Facebook page, right? This is the you, this is the me we want you to see, and there's more to it than that. It's interesting that if he were here, Brendan, Richard Irvin might say, well, everyone has that constitutional right to defense, but he's not here. He's not engaged the press much to this point. How hard is it for you, a political reporter, to really get to know a candidate's positions, to test out their ideas, when you don't have access to them?
It's extremely difficult. I mean, right now what's going on in the primary, at least with Mayor Irvin's campaign, is it's a very, dare I say, Rose Garden strategy of we are going to blanket the airwaves with campaign advertisements. We are going to define our candidate as a tough on crime prosecutor, and we're going to shield him from reporters.
They're going to control the narrative is what they're going to do.
And to an extent they can do that because the elephant in the room is Ken Griffin, the mega donor that gave, I believe, $20 million to Mayor Irvin. That's just the first check. It's a down payment, more to come. And so Mayor Irvin has not had to do as much media. He did a round of interviews in Chicago right after he got in. Many believe he didn't do so well, so we didn't see him for another month.
His staff pulled him out of one of those interviews.
Right.
And said, we're done here.
And then he came down, obviously, for filing day and did a couple of events, but it was very scripted, very on message. They tried to train him to stick to the campaign talking points, and that may work for now, but obviously we're only a few months away from the primary, and he's going to have some more conservative challengers who are going to be, it's not just the Democratic Governors Association that's going to be coming after him. He has Darren Bailey and Jesse Sullivan and Gary Rabine and
Paul
Schimpf to worry about.
The Irvin campaign is spinning now, though, and they're saying, well, the Democratic Governors Association is only attacking us because they've seen the polling numbers. Our ads are working, people are taking notice, and more people are starting to favor Richard Irvin. Is it possible that that's the effect, that his ads are breaking through?
Absolutely.
Certainly.
Absolutely. I think anytime you pretty much have the airwaves to yourself, your numbers are going to go up just because people know who you are. People didn't know who Richard Irvin was in January. I bet a lot of people in Illinois do know who he is now. People maybe don't know some of the other candidates. I believe Jesse Sullivan is the only other one on TV right now.
Darren Bailey had a TV ad this week that went up. It was a smaller ad buy, but it was there.
Right, but it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up when more candidates get on air. Obviously, Darren Bailey got some money from Richard Uline, a conservative donor, more maybe to come there. And if he can get some money, maybe get some momentum, buy some more TV advertisements, it'll be interesting.
He's been in the news practically ever since he's been in Springfield. He was a representative and now a senator, so he's got some name recognition coming into the campaign, and I think we're going to get into the part of the campaign soon where everyone's going to be paying more attention, as much attention as can be paid to a late June primary.
I have to confess, it sometimes feels a little gross that we discuss politics from this sort of analysis standpoint of who's winning the ad war, who's winning the primary donor campaign race, who's raising the most money, when part of it, I feel like our job is to illuminate more about who these candidates are, what they stand for. Do you feel that we're getting the full picture of who these people are from their laser-focused, PR-crafted ads? Or what is the obligation of a candidate to speak with the public and to take questions from the press?
The candidates can do whatever they want and they'll earn all the votes that they can get. Modesty forbids me, but somebody asked at that Thursday news conference how in a world where everyone's busy and where are my sunglasses, oh yeah, and the primary in June, how does this resonate with folks? How does their point that, the DGA is meddling in the Republican primary? And I asked that question about how do people, the viewers at home care?
It's inside baseball.
Well, yeah, and the answer was the DGA is meddling in the Republican primary.
But they're also laser focused on a message of their own, which is that tough on crime. The Republicans seem convinced that the crime issue is a winning message for Republicans and a losing message for Democrats come November.
Absolutely. Crime, corruption, inflation, but they're really honing in on crime this past week. We saw it with the attacks on Governor Pritzker's nominees to the Prisoner Review Board. The Democrat-led Senate actually voted a couple of nominees down in recent weeks because they voted to let cop killers out of jail, out of prison, and that's obviously not a message you want going into re-election if you're a Senate Democrat. And the Democrats are obviously trying to address the crime issue before we get out of here on April 8th. And it'll be a question as to whether they will do enough to satisfy the concerns of voters. And I think regardless, the Republicans are going to continue to push that message because it seems to be effective.
And we're going to give this unknown guy a try. And the last time we said that, Bruce Rauner became governor.
Well, yeah, he was going up against a weathered incumbent at the time too. It's a lot of different things at play here. It's very interesting. Dave and Brendan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back in just a moment.